Welcome to the show that looks at truth, fiction, and reality with a smirk. I'm Aaron Peterson.
I'm Amanda Sink.
And I'm Zach Parkerson.
And welcome to Smirk. Smirk is a show where each week one of our hosts introduces an original story, which we then use as a springboard for spirited discussion on whatever the moral or theme of that story was. This week it is Zach's turn. I'm expecting butterflies, unicorns, rainbows. Yeah.
A pot of gold.
Is that going to happen?
You know what, Aaron, Amanda? It's funny you should say that because, well, I told a nice story about brothers getting together. I told a nice story about Spider-Man. I read some listener tales. It's time to get back to what I'm good at.
Depression.
Oh, so it's going to be dark.
DC universe.
Yes. Well, it is a better universe, obviously.
Ooh.
Oh.
Ooh.
Well.
Do you really
Shots
believe that inside?
I like Zack Snyder. But no, if I'm confronting my inner demons, probably not.
Okay.
This is what your inner demons are?
So good.
I was just kind of seeing if how far are you going to take this? I mean, are you really going to commit all the way to DC, or is like I'll defend them, but I'm not crazy?
He's like, I'm not putting all my chips on this table.
No, I mean, Batman vs. Superman is a good movie.
I agree.
I do agree as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad. Wow, we're the three people who agree.
Hey, this is a
because
happy...
we're the three best friends that anyone could have.
Dun, 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 dun.
Not on my week, guys. Not on my week.
All right. Well,
sorry.
Kill the happiness. Are you ready to tell your story?
Yeah. Gather around the campfire. It's time for a story. Bradford was a young man when he first realized he wanted to be a stand-up comedian. It was a premium cable channel special that first got him interested. The great Grant Kelly performed his historic Stitches Hurt routine. It let Bradford realize how much he enjoyed watching people laugh, how great it made him feel. So only a year later, he got his ass to the great city of Chicago, a hotbed for comedy. He enrolled in one of the great comedy schools, whose name I'll avoid here for legal reasons. But Bradford took to it like crazy. He was natural at this, and soon he was booking 10 to 15-minute mic spots at some of the bigger name clubs. He got noticed. Wasn't long at all until our hotshot was on tour. A snowball effect happened, and he was opening for bigger and bigger acts. And then it happened. The destination you knew this story would reach. Bradford got to meet Grant Kelly. Not only that, Grant thought he was funny. Something special, even. And Mr. Kelly was in just such a need for a new opener. Bradford got to go on tour with his actual hero. It was a blast. Grant Kelly was actually a super nice guy, making time for every fan. He shook folks' hands, let them know how they were his lifeblood. He, unlike so many heroes, lived up to the legend. Bradford learned a lot from his mentor, and eventually made it big on his own. The best part? They maintained a good friendship. Even as Bradford was now headlining his own shows, Grant and he always made time for a couple phone calls a month. Bradford woke up to an alert on his phone. It was from Grant Kelly. No, it was about Grant Kelly. Reports are coming in that the legend of stand-up comedy had been accused of sexual misconduct by no less than 7 women. Bradford was in complete shock. He had never seen anything like this from his time with Grant Kelly. He called him up and they spoke. Grant claimed innocence, and Bradford said he believed him. But he couldn't get the thoughts out of his head. Had some of these women on late tour nights been taken advantage of? Could 7 people really forge a conspiracy together? Did Bradford achieve his dreams through the machinations of a monster? Bradford was in despair, and he was lost.
Boy, this sounds like it came from the Me Too movement.
This feels topical.
Yeah, I toyed with the idea of naming the story Me Too, but I thought it might be in bad taste.
Oh.
Just
well, I guess it depends on what your moral is.
It really depends on where this episode goes.
Oh,
really.
The moral is, it's okay, right?
Well,
that's not the moral. He's joking.
We just got delisted on Apple Podcasts. Sorry, guys. We had a good run.
Now we're getting 0 reviews.
Nice job at killing the podcast simultaneously.
Did okay.
With a topic on the Me Too movement. That's amazing.
Well, what do you guys think the moral is?
Nothing I want to admit
that
to.
You are controversial.
It doesn't really feel that controversial.
No, but bringing it up
it seems to be all anybody's talking about lately.
I think, honestly, the moral seems to be that you never really know anyone.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah, I was going to say your heroes may not be what you think they are.
Kind of want to delete the moral and write, you may not always know everyone. Confronting the darkness in your heroes. Is my moral. It's pretty
Man, it's
close.
happened a lot lately.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. You guys really heard about Clayne Crawford, right?
Don't bring it. Why'd you bring it up? I'm so
Why?
bitter and hurt.
Watching you cry. Just you. I'm sorry if I made you cry, Amanda.
I'm a little like, why'd you have to bring that up?
Well, I mean,
We're a little bummed in this room.
We're at a point in society where
Nobody's safe.
well, no, I mean, honestly,
Well,
if you've been around artists any period of time or you really follow them, a lot of artists are narcissistic. I mean, it's just a lot of times it's a self-esteem issue. They're desperate for attention, starve for attention. They get the attention and you become narcissistic. Plus, you have people around you all day long telling you they love you. So a lot of your heroes would be darker than you think.
I mean, if your ambition is to be the star of a TV show, you have to be a little egotistical, right?
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so at the initial accusation, would you have stood by someone who meant so much to you?
It's so tough. In this day and age, that's an even tougher question, honestly.
Isn't this fun?
No, that's a really good topic. It's just one, I think everybody, because of how the internet responds to everything now, makes you a little nervous to even, it feels like you have to tap dance even about a legitimate conversation sometimes.
It's a bit eggshell strewn, you could say.
I feel like I need to know more about the accusations. Like, was there...
I got nothing to tell you.
Okay.
No,
But-
I mean,
the
story's the
accusations
story, right?
themselves can alter how you feel about that, because there are some scenarios that come
Well,
back.
I think he explained that. He did say that women were saying that he basically sexually harassed them, right?
sexual misconduct.
Sexual misconduct.
Is how I worded it, yeah.
But nowhere in the story does it say if there was legitimate evidence or anything like that, which I think alters a lot of people's perceptions, not necessarily my own.
Well, I mean, almost anything about this topic is he shed, she shed, right?
Yeah. I think he gave you all the evidence that people in the same situation would have at that moment. So you're going to have to give an honest answer.
I gave you as much evidence as we were given about Kevin Spacey.
I am the type of person who believes the victims. I'm never going to tell a victim that they're wrong or anything like that. But it does make it tough because there are some people who will take advantage of that. But the amount of people that do take advantage of it are pretty slim. So I would believe the victims, but I would confront this person that I'm a friend with and ask them for the truth and if this was legitimate or, something like that. Now, whether they decide to talk to me about it or not, that's their decision. But I would believe the statements that were coming out from the victim, and then I would encourage this person that I'm friends with to talk to me about it and get their side of the story.
I think in a very public environment, because both your characters are public now. They're very public, and one owes his entire career to the other one. Much in the same vein, I would want to publicly support them because the person I know is not that person. I spent a lot of time with them. I've never seen any aspect of this. I would want to defend them, but to do that, I would have to, before I would ever do anything public, I would have to know the specifics and talk to the person. And I would have to have them explain to me. And it would be a no BS session. And the first inkling I got that there was any kind of evidence, unfortunately, I would have to distance myself from them because,
right.
I would, but I'm the kind of person, honestly, I would probably try to help them get help if they needed it or find out what the issue was. Like, why did you think this was right? Whatever the case is. And also look at the accusations to see, is it being sensationalized? Is it really something that should be scrutinized as much as it is? Because in this day and age, everything is scrutinized. I think you have to look at everything a little bit closer than just headlines, which unfortunately most people don't.
Wow.
What about you, Zach? Are you standing by your hero?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like your natural inclination, especially, in this story, Bradford really owes Grant everything. Mm-hmm. So it would, especially, and he's been on tour with them, so it's kind of difficult to see this person in that other light. On the flip side, I put the number 7 is important here because one person you could say maybe they're trying to damage him, they're trying to take advantage of the current movement, but like 7 people, when the numbers start to escalate, this situation looks more dire.
I agree with that. Yeah.
I do think it's dangerous. I know. Oh boy, I might get the show taken off the air. No, you want to believe the victim, right? You want to think that no one would ever lie about this, but I think it's dangerous to believe anybody at their word out of nothingness.
I think it's more dangerous to make a victim feel like they're not going to be believed, which is why so many hold their silence for so long, because they don't feel like anyone will actually believe what they have to say. So when they come out, it's only because they feel like it's safe enough. If you make an environment where they don't feel comfortable enough to speak out about what it is that they have to talk about, then numerous thousands of people will never talk about their situation, and it will never be brought up, and it will just perpetuate that scenario to continue. And you will also never stop the real monsters out there. So while it may be that there is a small percentage, and I can't remember what the percentage is, but it's very, very minute of the amount of people who lie about it.
Not to jump in and cut you off or anything, but I would add that I think there'll be more when it comes to entertainers down the road, because it's gotten so much publicity. And if we learn anything from entertainment, people will jump on any bandwagon to get celebrity. And that will totally hurt the Me Too movement, but it is going to happen. And I'm sure it's probably happened for someone already, but we're already
For someone?
No, I'm sure it has. I mean, because you can make an accusation. If they refute it, they look guilty. If they deny it, no matter what they do, they already look guilty. So, and that the other person is given instant celebrity to a degree. That's going to eventually hurt the Me Too movement, I believe. Do you understand what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not, you should always believe the victims, and we should. I'm saying because there's been so much publicity, I think at some point you're going to start seeing people try to jump on that bandwagon for their own self-serving.
So I get what
some small, slim
right.
statistics.
And I get what you're saying, and I'm not saying that isn't a possibility, that it's not happening. Like, it has happened. It is minor. It could grow, but you're also hearing that many more people who are telling the truth.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
But the problem is not just about silencing those other people, but I mean, yes, it could hurt the Me Too movement. It could hurt whatever, people feel comfortable in talking about and believing people. If you need to be able to consider the situation and evidence, but you should never disbelieve a victim. You don't necessarily need to believe a victim, but you should never disbelieve them.
Don't just listen, hear them.
Yeah, you should accept the very real possibility that what they're saying is factually true. And everyone does have their own perspective and their own perception of something. In this particular scenario, this is about misconduct, not about assault. So there's a very big distinction in reality and perception. People may perceive something to be, that's misconduct or, harassment or something like that. They may perceive it differently than the intention was. So that's where it can get a little bit more, this particular story makes it a little bit more hard to decide and decipher, the guilty party or, how real this scenario is. But I feel like as dangerous as it could be to believe someone and then them not be truthful, it's that much more dangerous to not believe people and start to automatically assume that they're lying as a victim. And that's how it started. People have been very, very silent for a long time. And then once numbers started to grow and people were like Harvey Weinstein, and there was that many people who had proof and had evidence that this has been happening, people started to, I think, turn their heads and say, okay, it sounded crazy when we first heard it for some people in some scenarios, but now it's starting to be like, okay, this could be a very, 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 very serious problem that the rest of us outside of Hollywood aren't necessarily aware of. And that's just Hollywood. I mean, these numbers are astronomical outside of Hollywood too. And that's not getting focused right now. And that's the thing that bothers me is we're only getting the stories of the famous people. We're not getting the voices of the people who have been silenced in communities near us.
Well, not to mention a lot of the famous people, especially the more famous people that everybody is celebrating now, they could have gotten traction had they come out and said something a long time ago, but they didn't want to interfere with their careers, which is probably the wrong. I'm saying like Gwyneth Paltrow, her situation, if she would have came out and said that publicly a long time ago, when she became famous, that could have helped a lot of people at that time, but didn't because it's going to affect my career. You know what I mean? And apparently a lot of people knew this was going on and nobody would say something. So it's...
Because nobody wanted to hurt their careers.
There's a factor of that. I mean, I'm not saying that victims' voice, that people were just afraid in general of coming forward. But there were people that did it out of professional reasons, and that shouldn't be a factor. It never should have been a factor. And it's sad that Hollywood has that environment where it's a factor.
Where their entire livelihood is at stake. There are a lot of people who have gone to try to become actors or be a celebrity in whatever entertainment industry field that they prefer to be in. And they've given up every other possibility so they can pursue this. So they're left with, not everyone, but a lot of them are left with, I've put my entire life into this. Like, if I say something about this, everything I've worked for is done. And that's just the career aspect mindset. That's not even the people who are just like, who the hell is going to believe me? Who's gonna legitimately say, right, okay, now let's pursue a lawsuit against this, massive person who has this much power.
Yeah.
That's why people in power take such advantage, because they know that they can. And that's why movements like Me Too create a system where people are in numbers and can work against breaking down those people who are in power and breaking down the silence. Because people, when it's just one voice, like you guys already said it, one voice, you might not believe it that much. When you hear multiple voices...
I'm not saying you don't believe it. I'm just saying I never said that. I never once said that. I said if it's just one person, you can't just make the leap that it's automatically true. I don't believe in the court of public opinion, and I know that's a thing we live in now. That's the world we live in. Somebody says something, you have to take them. You have to consider it 100% fact, because you gotta understand. I firmly believe in the law. I believe in the letter of the law. If someone makes an accusation, they have to prove it, and then once a person's convicted, they're guilty. I believe in that. I believe in that system. When someone just comes out and publicly makes an accusation, I don't think you should automatically just, okay, we take away everything that person has. They're done. Because that person made an accusation. Now, 7, that's different than just 1. But there should be
That's my point,
There should be evidence. There should be some presentation of evidence. There should be a court that determines the guilt of someone, not us. People shouldn't determine people's guilt.
But that's part of what I was leading to, is that when it's one voice, there is less belief in the truth of their statement. When you hear multiple voices, then there is more belief. Regardless of if it's a disbelief or a minimal belief, it increases with the number of people. So with more people talking about it, more people bringing it up and feeling comfortable in that safe space to talk about it, there's more belief that this is, wow, a much larger problem than we realized, or this person may have actually done it. Like, I can't believe this person did this, or whatever. When we break that silence, we give people that platform to talk about it. And men have not fully gotten to that platform to talk about women assaulting or harassing them. We still have a lot of work to do where men can feel comfortable talking about that. And that's a whole different topic. Sorry. Anyway. Zach, I feel like we haven't heard your voice in a while.
Yeah. I feel like we did. You guys just went on like a whole other...
We just continue to talk about it.
You guys took it away from the whole like best friend angle and took it into the broader...
I'll bring it back then.
Bring your voice back into this.
I did several minutes ago, saying it's tough.
Let me ask you guys. Okay, so Morgan Freeman had a recent situation where he was accused by, I think it was 6 or 7, 8 people. Okay, but they came out later and discredited 3 of them. 3. So make him a fictional character. I don't care. Take away the Morgan Freeman-ness of it, and you realize, okay, 3 people were discredited, and the other 5 people. If you really read the complaints, I mean, you can see it. Different varying degrees of, was it inappropriate or was it just lewd comments? What was this? There's a whole lot of ways you can take some of that. So where do you land on that? When you've got 3 people that are discredited, does that kind of take you away from, he's guilty? Is that too controversial?
No, I mean, I didn't even know about the 8 or the 3 because I just kind of see these stories now and go, like, kind of just be like, oh, there it is again. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, that's the sad part. We're at that point where
right. Well, just like with school shootings, right? You get an alert about a school shooting on your phone, and you just go,
There's
what are you going to do?
It can hurt the case for that person, and it makes me question the other people that are attached, depending on how it was attached. Did they all talk to each other? Yes, it does potentially make a negative impact on the movement itself. And about this scenario particularly.
I'm just speaking the scenario, not the movement.
Right. But it lends you to wonder... Will the rest of them be discredited, or is it just these 3 that are discredited? For me, I question the rest of it. It makes me look at it deeper as if the possibility that more of these women are lying, as, you know, if they were working together or conspiring together, like some, conspiracy theory. But I'm still always going to believe that those remaining 5 people are legitimately truthful until they're disproven. Those 3 people, I mean, honestly, if this could impact his career, and if all of them are liars, put them in jail. Because I don't think that you should be able to get away with ruining somebody's life or impacting them negatively if what you're saying isn't truthful. Now, I think for Freeman, his is more about harassment than anything. And that's where the perspectives come into play. So are these women legitimately like, this never happened? And there was one of the 3 scenarios where the videotape, I guess, disproved what she said. But that doesn't mean the other 5 aren't telling the truth. That's still 5 people. Even if it's one, that's still another voice that hasn't been discredited. They may have just felt comfortable hearing the rest of them and said, okay, I'll tell my story too. And maybe the scenario, just blanket thinking here, maybe the scenario was one of them, they wanted this one person to come forward, or these 5 people to come forward. And so they made a false story to make them feel comfortable. That would be very horrific and terrible that if they did that. I don't know what the scenario is, but I'm still going to believe those remaining people, that they're telling the truth until I'm told otherwise.
So you believe in guilty until proven innocent?
I mean, don't we always?
No, I don't.
Yeah, when you get arrested and you're not convicted, you're still seen as guilty to your community.
I don't see people that way.
Well, that's kind of how our system works.
No, it actually is the complete opposite.
If you get arrested from your job for something, but they haven't convicted you, your job is still going to see you as possibly guilty. Your community, your colleagues are still going to see you as guilty, regardless, until you're proven innocent.
That's the problem.
Those people kind of don't believe in America, though, don't they?
Zach, what do you feel about this? I mean, do you feel like the court of public opinion is the right way to handle this?
I try to take more of an approach of not believing either side until professionals actually do some investigating and we actually get some real facts. I don't like to jump the gun on either trigger. I don't think it's fair to the victim. I don't think it's fair to the accused. That's kind of my stance on it.
So you very much believe in innocent until proven guilty?
Yes, I think it's in our Constitution.
What? Do we even know what's on that thing, really, at this point?
I read it once in school, part of it.
It was a fun piece of paper. I
Yeah,
remember
it's
taking
real long, though.
I remember taking a test on it, but apparently once you leave high school, it's just like algebra. You just forget all about it.
I remember you can't pass the 8th grade unless you pass the Constitution test.
Can't get a good enough diploma without it either. So it's important.
Right.
That's what I hear. All right, so your hot button topic, you got people all hot buttonized. Where do you want to go with this now?
Yeah, well, now I feel like I got to reread the questions. Be like, so you guys like school?
School. No. Education is for the smart.
So is it inevitable that all good people hide a darkness of some kind?
Yes, I think everybody does.
I think it's just the level and whether they're willing to recognize it or not. I don't think a lot of people see the darkness in themselves.
So you're saying there are no truly good people?
I think some people are really good at hiding it, and I think there are different levels, but to some degree, everybody has some sort of darkness, whether it's somebody who manipulates somebody to get their way a few times, or it's somebody who steals a candy bar or something. Like there's some level, whether it's on the very minute scale or very deep end of the scale, somebody has some sort of secret that they hide.
Is stealing a candy bar really that dark?
No, I'm saying that's the minute side of the scale.
Well, he's still stealing.
I would put that person. I still put the person in the good camp.
I think there's a lot of good people that have done bad things. So I don't think there are plenty of good people, to answer your question. But everybody has some darkness. Everybody has something they're a little ashamed of. All of you listening right now, you're like, oh, that thing.
Yeah, put the toilet paper on the wrong way, maybe.
Exactly. If you put it on underhanded, you're doing it wrong. And that's a sadness and a darkness you have to live with.
We all have darkness. We all have to live with it.
And everybody tries to keep it,
I think in some scenarios when it is an extreme, your goodness can outweigh any darkness you might have. Not in every scenario and not when it gets to the point of this story. But I think that some people, if they do steal a candy bar, they're so good in any other way that a candy bar is like, wow, you actually broke the rules. I'm so proud of you. So I think it just kind of, each person has their own level of goodness based off the good and the bad that they've done.
And I will say, we're partly to blame for some of this entertainment stuff. In a way, because of our society and how we celebrate celebrities so much, that the egos that, this stuff goes to entertainers' heads because you're constantly adoring them and admiring them, and they're wonderful, and
giving them awards and $20 million paychecks.
Yeah, and people fall in love with them, and there are plenty of people throwing themselves at them all the time. So at some point, some of them lose a sense of reality. I'm not saying that they were repressing whatever issues they had, and that celebration brought it out of them because they thought, well, now I can get away with anything because I'm powerful. And so they become that powerful person. We've made them powerful by giving them celebrity. People give celebrities power. Celebrities don't have it because they've done anything magical. People like them. They become famous. They have power. And we give them that power. So the public, to a degree, created this in a very, very sad fashion. Like, it was well-intentioned, and they just manipulated it and used it to their advantage because they were given this power. And
I mean,
it's just sad.
Just think about how many punchlines there have been about the casting couch.
Yeah. Hollywood thought it was a funny joke for a long time. It's not so funny.
Well, I mean, sometimes it was.
Not allowed to laugh at it anymore, though, right?
Probably not.
No.
You ain't going to see the next episode. In the Friends revival, they're not going to make a joke about it. No.
They're not going to make a Friends revival.
What do you mean?
I mean, they're never going to.
They better.
I don't think Jennifer Aniston needs to do it. She's the one that they have to have back. Everybody else is like, we love to have the check. And she's like, no, I'm good.
Yeah. Ella Blanc needs it. Oh. Well, are you able to continue watching, reading, playing something from your heroes after these kinds of situations?
Oh, that's tough.
It is. It's a real art versus separating the art from the artist thing.
For me, it would depend on what they did. And this is where their actual being proved guilty would come into play. If there's still just the controversy around the possibility of it, but there's no evidence or anything like that, I'm more inclined to continue with that because I don't think that I don't know for sure that they were guilty of it. I just don't want to not believe the victims. But if there's overwhelming evidence to prove that they did do something, and whatever the case may be, whether it's, severe sexual harassment or assault or whatever the case may be, at that point, I turn away from it. I see them differently. They're not a hero to me anymore because the person that they are is not what I thought they were. It was just them acting once more for me.
It depends on if it's creepy or illegal. I mean, if it's just they're being creepy, yeah, I'm still going to be able to watch the things. And I'll just be like, wow, that dude's creepy, but I can still watch it. If they did something illegal, like I haven't watched a Roman Polanski movie in years. As soon as I found out he was convicted for what he was convicted for, I'm like, done. I won't do it. Meanwhile, Hollywood was continuing to celebrate him, but that's beside the point.
He earned all those rewards.
Yeah, cracks me up. They just removed him from the academy. And I'm like, he's been convicted for 30 years. He fled the country as a criminal, a convicted criminal, 30 years ago. He hasn't even been back to America because he's a criminal.
Yeah. He can't pick up the award because he
literally
is a pedophile.
Yep. Yeah. So whatever. That's where I can't watch something anymore. If you've been convicted of something like that, or there's severe proof of it's, how do you watch that person or honor that person when you know that they've done something that heinous? Now, if they're creepy, Morgan Freeman, he sounds like a creepy guy. He doesn't sound like he did anything massively horrible. Just was, creepy grandpa or something. He's very leery, and you don't want to, invite him over when your daughters are having like a pool party.
You get to a certain age, you don't have to hold back anymore.
I don't know if that's really an excuse, but I would still watch his work because he hasn't done anything that really damaged someone's life that I can see. That I know at this point. I don't want to say that he hasn't. I just don't know it for a fact at this point.
Right. I think it's always easy for people to say they're never going to do something again when someone gets accused of something, unless that person is very important to them.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like Michael Jackson, he went to trial twice, no?
Well, I don't know if it was twice. I mean, I think he went to trial once. Honestly, I don't know.
Well, he's been accused multiple times.
Yes. Well, he has been.
And at a certain point, it's okay. But, then he dies and he's a hero again,
I don't know if that's the case. I mean, a lot of people still make a lot of snide
make jokes about it, but I think he's still considered an idol. I hear him on the radio every day.
Right. People are still listening to Billie Jean on repeat.
I mean, he was trying to tell us the whole time. He wrote a song called I'm Bad. So
we just need to listen.
I'm bad. You know it. See? Hey, no. He was never convicted of anything, no.
Oh, yeah, because he was innocent, obviously.
Just wasn't convicted.
Never been anybody rich and powerful who got away with anything.
Somebody has personal feelings on this.
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah, honestly, it comes down to it is a case-by-case basis, right? Honestly, like the Jeffrey Tambor stuff keeps coming out, and it just kind of sounds like he's kind of a worse and worse dude. Mm-hmm. But I just can't. I couldn't never watch Arrested Development again, for instance. You know, it's just too tough. Even if he may be a bad guy, the art itself is just, it is too important to the formation of who I was. So on a case-by-case basis, yeah. You know, I loved Kevin Spacey. I would watch things just because he was in it. I haven't been able to rewatch Baby Driver yet.
I will tell you, I saw Baby Driver before it came out, and then after the accusations, obviously, and it plays different. No, yeah. It's just weird now. It's just like very uncomfortable. And American Beauty just became a documentary.
Yeah. Watching American Beauty now might be real tough.
Mm-hmm. It's a little, it's odd is the word I would
Great
use.
Movie until about 6 months ago.
Like, we're going to need your Best Picture Oscar back because, yeah.
Well, if Roman can keep his, right?
Yeah, right? Oh, I love all the people coming out now. That one just makes me laugh. Makes me laugh. I remember when you guys were standing up and applauding. Go watch the video when he wins his award and he's not there because he's a criminal.
Pianist.
Oh.
Yeah. Also a bad husband. But anyway, that guy sucked.
He seems like a real a-hole all the way around, honestly.
Right. But he makes such beautiful movies.
I don't know. I haven't seen any since Chinatown. So
great movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And after I saw that, I found out his life story and I'm like, well, guess I'm done with that guy. Never watch anything of him. Can't even watch Jeepers Creepers 3 either. So, damn it.
Oh, wait, who's in Jeepers Creepers 3?
It's the director. The director convicted.
Oh, yeah. He diddled some kids, right?
That's a very eloquent way of putting it.
Is that not the official terminology anymore?
No.
Can I not say that one anymore?
It's not a medical term.
Diddle?
No, I don't think they use that in court.
We're just going to have to make like a Smirk dictionary of words and phrases.
I think we'll have to edit half this eepisode out. So
it's going to be a rough one.
So anyway, is it truth or fiction?
Yeah, you guys think this is truth or fiction?
Well, yeah. At this point, probably true, but I assume your story is actually fiction.
Amanda?
True.
Well, I don't think Grant Kelly's a real guy, so fiction. Much like earlier stories, it is true, but it's not true.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
It's triction. I'm telling you.
It is Smirk copyrighted term triction.
I know. I'm going to need to go out there and take care of that quick before somebody tries to steal it.
It's a big chunk of coin to copyright it, so you better be sure you want that word to go.
I do. Everywhere with me. It's going to be like my
That's good. You can
slogan.
Get that little TM or R. Get the R.
I was going to say, I don't know what the difference is.
TM means the trademark is pending, and an R with a circle means you have it.
That's good to know. I had no idea.
Bam.
Yeah. You learn something new every day.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to Smirk.
See, we're edumacating people.
What's
Just like G.I. Joe.
What?
G.I. Joe, the more you know.
That's true. Knowledge. What's the title of your tale?
Stitches Hurt.
Stitches Hurt?
That was the name of Grant Kelly's comedy special in the story.
Oh, right. Okay. All right.
And it plays in very well with him.
Well done. This is a less jovial episode of Smirk because everybody's
it's Zach's episode.
I know. Well, you can't make any jokes, jackass. What the hell?
You can still say diddle, though.
I don't know if you can.
I don't know.
I don't think you should.
Well, maybe, yeah, that might be.
In the right context, diddle is fine. It's just, that's not the right context, probably.
I'm pretty sure diddle is only associated with like, pedophilia.
I use diddle all the time, and it's
you should
not
stop.
To do with children
you should
at all.
not. Why? How are you not arrested right now?
Because it's nothing to do with children.
We don't know that.
He's diddling his ice cream.
Let me
Get away from the ice cream, sir.
Let me diddle in your French fries. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds dirty.
No, yeah. So does the ice cream. Leave ice cream alone. Leave him out of this.
Him, it's not a thing.
I said
leave out of it?
like EM. them, but
all right.
slang abbreviated.
Well, as our show goes, we will occasionally pick listener stories to read and discuss on Smirk. If you'd like the chance to have yours read, email it to mystory@smirkpodcast.com. Just be sure to not make it about the Me Too movement because we have to dance circles around that. Circles.
Hashtag me too.
And also, you can join the conversation by joining our Facebook group or follow us on Twitter at Smirk Podcast, and be sure to use the show's hashtag Smirk. Don't miss an episode. Be sure to subscribe to Smirk on your podcast app of choice and check out our website at smirkpodcast.com. That's going to do it for this episode of Smirk. You guys ready to call it a day?
It's past my bedtime.
Yeah.
I'm an old lady.
It's got to be pushing, what, 9?
It's almost 9 o'clock.
All right, Grandma. As you write your own life story.
Hey, don't you step on me. As you write your own life story, always remember to tell it with a smirk.
So, Zach, here's the thing. Now that the episode's over, what can we do to not get a repeat of this episode? Because I don't ever want to come near this topic again in my life.
I mean, you know what? I'm only going to talk about superheroes from now on.
Yes.
That didn't seem to offend anybody.
Oh, always. You can't end that unless you're talking about Captain Marvel and how Tony Stark, if he goes anywhere near her, we're going to start all over again.
No, he's probably her father or something. At the very least, a second cousin.
He's going to show up for no reason whatsoever.
Right. Her supervillain will be an Iron Man villain in disguise.
Of course. Yeah.
This is the MCU.
It'll be Jeff Bridges because he was around during that era.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Oh, no, it wouldn't.